Now, the bigger question is,
I don't want peace.
Why
I want
did the
problems
Asante
always.
enter the war between the AKWMU and Eweme? And this is where the bigger question lies. For those of you who are going haywire over this, calling me a liar, I beg your pardon. It will be fair for you to get some books off the shelf. That will be the best thing. So let's write. The Asante initially was not involved in anything that had to do with war in Eweme. They were not involved. But they had one ally, that was AKWMU, which also forms part of the Ashanti Empire, but with a very tiny difference. All right, so when AKWMU was losing the war against howusu, the Eweme king, that is when they launched the war on Ho, they were losing. They were losing badly. They were losing men. They were losing artillery and everything. So they decided to call for help. Guess who they might call? They called the bigger brother, that is the Asante. And by this time, Kofi Karikari was the king of the Asante kingdom. Mind you, let nobody lie to you. I don't care whatever you think, wherever you come from. The Asante kingdom was one of the greatest kingdoms in terms of their military power. No two ways about this. So AKWMU had no option except to fall on the Asante for military help. Initially, they didn't want to go there. The Asante didn't want to go into that war with the people of Eweme. Remember, they had one ally from the southern part, down the south. That is Angolon. They were good allies for a good reason, which I'll talk about later. They initially refused to join in the war, but with pleadings from the AKWMU, they decided to go. Why? Because anyway, this will provide them with an opportunity to find some trade routes at the coastal level, because the Dutch were already there. So they decided to go into this war. Did this benefit them? No. This was when there was a massive defeat to both AKWMU and the Asante. Remember, Asante had good generals. One was Edu Boafo. Edu Boafo led one part of the army that marched on Peki, and the other army general was Nentri, who also marched on Ho. Now, they were brutal in their destruction. The entire town of Ho was burnt down by these generals. And what happened? 2 Basel missionaries were captured, including one woman, and they were taken to Kumasi in the course of the war. Now, at one point in time, what happened was Kofi Karikari wanted an end to the war, but something happened. Edu Boafo persisted that the war should continue because he was the general in the battlefield. In the process, the only one ally of Eweme, who was Dompre, was killed, because this Dompre guy was sent by Kojode to go to Accra, was the gallant, to go to Accra to get him gunpowder. But on the way, he was ambushed by the Asante army. And hearing this, Kojode became devastated and he could not continue with the war. What did he do? He fled the battlefield to Bato. And mind you, all this war, Angolon was fighting along the Asante army together with the AKWMU army. They were allies at this time, fighting together. Who were they fighting? This is where it becomes a bigger question. They were fighting another group of their own, that is Eweme. Gemi Mountain actually played a role in this war. Why? Some of the Eweme soldiers or warriors climbed the hills and the mountains. And what were they doing? Because the foreigners didn't know the terrain. In fighting any war, the first principle is you have to understand the terrain. This is the principle written by Sun Tzu, The Art of War. If you ever read this book before, it is there. You have to understand the terrain you are going to. So The Asante army and the Akwemu army did not understand the terrain they were walking into. So the Eweme army climbed the hills and the mountains, and what were they doing? They were just dropping the rocks on top on them, and this actually aided them in defeating these two powerful forces together. The slaughter of the Asante-Akwemu army by the Eweme was so devastating. According to Alfred Ellis, the Asante alone lost half of their number along with 124 commanders, and of every 20 to 30 company of Asante warriors, only 3 to 4 survived. Ho and Kpando became de facto leading towns in Evedome as a consequence of the reputation they had won in leading the Ewe to resist the Asante. Ho later became capital of Western Togoland. Ladies and gentlemen, this is FOLE TV. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also hit the notification button so that anytime I drop anything new, you'll surely be the first to know. And in my next episode, I'm going to talk about the relationship between the Anglo and the Asante and the aftermath of that, which we saw when Asante went to the Anglo land during Hogbechocho festival celebration. Thank you for watching the video. Share it, let it go anywhere. Whatever you want to say, put your thoughts in the comment section. See ya.